tonight is do or die. I mean, you really, if you don't come out and do something tonight, you might as well not even come out in game 4. And I don't just mean keep it close tonight. Because if all they do is keep it close tonight, they really, really, well, in my opinion, they're done. They're not going to win this series anyway. Golden State will get their second ring in a row and go ahead and complete this very great season they're having. But for Cleveland to have the theoretical chance, they need to come out tonight and they need to do what Toronto did to them, right? They need to play with some attitude. They need to play with some toughness. You need to see the J.R. Smith that I said needed to show up in this series. I said if he came out with that same tenacity, if he was hustling for those loose balls, if he was hitting the floor, you don't see that from him. In game 1, he didn't get his first shot off until right before halftime. He has not been in this series. The role players for Cleveland have not been in this series. LeBron has been off his game completely in this series. They are now out without Kevin Love tonight. After he got the elbow to the head in game 2, got a concussion. He's in the NBA concussion protocol. He doesn't get to play tonight. So now you're asking LeBron to have basically his best game of the season. Kyrie has to have his best game of the season. And somebody else has to do something. That magical home court energy that NBA teams seem to get needs to show up tonight. Channing Frye is going to have to kick in 12 to 15 points. J.R. Smith's going to have to kick in 15 points. Bogut had a great game 1, right? Game 1, Bogut and the bench. Golden State wins. Curry and Thompson didn't do much. Game 2, Green has a great game, leads the way. Curry and Thompson don't do much. Curry and Thompson really have not gotten off in this series yet, people. They had decent games in game 2, but they haven't had that 40-point, 35-point, 30-point splash brother take over the game type game yet. You've seen Golden State win as a team. You've seen them win with defense. And you've seen the Cleveland team just not make any adjustments at all. You see them stand around and watch LeBron. Nobody's even hitting the rim to try and get an offensive rebound. They're watching on defense. They're getting caught in changes. It's not good basketball that we're seeing from the Cavaliers right now. We got game 3 started tonight. It's the first game in Cleveland tonight. It looks like here we are early in the first period. Cleveland's up 9-0. So maybe is that a little bit of this home court magic we're talking about? Is Golden State going to wear out the cobwebs a little bit here, and all of a sudden, there you go, Bogut with a dunk. No defense on the inside. But you don't want Golden State to get hot. Everybody's hating on Golden State right now. They would love nothing more than to be able to kick back and say another story about Michael Jordan and how great Michael Jordan is. You know what? I'm going to be real with you. Michael Jordan is a competitor. Michael Jordan is an extremely good athlete. He was very talented, but he is by no means, in my opinion, the greatest basketball player who ever lived. He came around at the right time with the right marketing to be considered this image, this thing. He was a scorer until he had the team around him to win a championship. That's it. Then he started playing better defense because he was no longer the best player on his team. He had a challenge that he had to meet. They put Scottie Pippen on the guy they needed to shut down. He never won without Scottie. Scottie never won without him. Both reached the playoffs without each other, but neither won without the other. So everybody's sitting there wanting this Bulls team to have this mystique and to keep it. And because of the way Golden State shoots threes, well, we just can't have that. They can't be that team. You know what? They're doing it. They're young. They're having fun. They're competing. They're playing defense in this series. They're shutting people down. They're taking advantage of good opportunities. If they win, I like watching that style of basketball. I liked it when the Nuggets had Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson and everybody doing their thing, Camby and Martin. It was a fun style of basketball to watch. especially with the new rules. They can't get physical anymore. Although you do see the refs allowing a little more physicality in these playoffs, which shocked me some. Because basketball, more than any other sport, it's, I think I'm going to see a foul. Let me blow that whistle. You haven't seen too much of that tonight. With Golden State tonight, who's going to step up and be it for Golden State tonight? So far in the playoffs, they've really struggled in Game 3s. They've had problems in Game 3s. They struggled against Portland. Double-digit losses against Portland and Oklahoma City in Game 3 of the playoffs. Will they get another great game from their bench tonight? Or will Curry and Thompson, one of them, step up tonight and have their game that they haven't had yet? Will Bogut have another game, considering he had a dunk just a few minutes ago? So who's going to step up and be that person tonight for them? Because they're still under pressure. Even though they're up 2-0, have home court still in their favor, they are still under as much pressure as Cleveland is in this series because of how many people want to see them fail. They want to write the story of how they didn't complete it and how they worked too hard to get to the 73 and how that took it out of them and how they didn't have the energy and that they broke down. People can't wait to write that story. And those same people will get paid and write some ridiculous story about how they're the best team ever once they do wrap up this finals. You got a guy in LeBron who's been a leader on so many teams, on teams that really shouldn't have been in the playoffs. You see him in this series turning the ball over a lot more than you normally see a LeBron turn the ball over. Is that because he doesn't trust his team right now? Is that because he knows he's opting out and leaving Cleveland because of how this season has gone? Who knows? I saw a report today that suggested that the Cavaliers should trade Kyrie Irving to the Clippers for Chris Paul. Wouldn't that just be the perfect scenario? I know these guys want to play together, but they got to remember also they're getting older in age. And if they go up against a young super team like what the Minnesota Timberwolves are starting to put together, or like this Golden State team, or what it appears like San Antonio is starting to quickly and smartly do, that's not going to work. Yes, they're great players. Yes, Chris Paul, in my opinion, is still one of the best, if not the best point guard in the NBA. But you can't just, hey, I want to play with my friends and that's going to win us some championships. They tried that in Miami. It didn't work every year, did it? Sure, they got there. LeBron, like we've talked about, this is his 6th straight NBA Finals appearance. But at some point, it can't just be LeBron. It can't just be, let's see what he does. One of these other guys, a Kyrie, needs to have a 30-point game. Kevin Love's going to have to come back from this concussion. Hopefully Cleveland can pull it out tonight. And he's going to have a monster game, like a 2015 game or a 30-20 game. They got to get something down low in this series if they want to, even take a breath. Because, sure, they have the lead right now. They're up 17-4 right now. But that's against a team that can start shooting threes and can, from half court, and get on fire and erase the deficit in just a matter of minutes. Now, Cleveland really they have to keep it going right now. They're going to have to get the defense that they're getting right now. They're going to have to hope that Golden State continues to be off on their shots the way they have been so far tonight. If not, Golden State will pull this one out. The other, here's a perfect example of me being real, guys. I don't know nothing about hockey. Pittsburgh is going to win the NHL Finals. They're up 3-1. Hardly ever in the NHL do you have a team that comes back from down 3-1. If you want to see some good hockey by the Penguins, tune into Game 5 tomorrow night, 6 p.m. NBC. I'm sure they go ahead and finish it out tomorrow night. My prediction of San Jose in 6 obviously is not going to happen. San Jose's best chance now is 7 games. They might win another game. They might, come out and save themselves tomorrow night from elimination. But I'm really looking right now at Sid the Kid and the Penguins to pull that one out. Over to the Steelers. I don't know if you guys read this story today, but the Steelers linebacker Man, this kid is fast, okay? They talked about how fast he was coming out of the combine. Every game the Steelers have, you hear the broadcasters talking about how fast Ryan Shazier is, how he's probably the fastest linebacker in the NFL. He might be one of the fastest people in the NFL, period. Story came out today that he raced the wide receiver group in a 40-yard dash of the Pittsburgh Steelers with Brown and Wheaton and Coates and all of them out there, and he beat them, all of them. That is flat-out speed, people. That is craziness. You're not going to get around the edge on this defense if that's how he's running. If the big boys up front keep him clean, forget about it. Your running back ain't going nowhere. He's out running the wide receivers. He can chase down your running back. JPP, this guy comes out and says he's not going to be in the country this year for the 4th of July. He's going somewhere where they don't celebrate it. Oh, good for you. Don't go blow yourself up again. Smart. Oh, great story in college women's softball at the World Series of college softball. Auburn made an amazing comeback in Game 2 of their series against Oklahoma. They are down tonight, 2-1 the last I saw, but they were down 7 runs in Game 2, came back to tie it up, and then won it on a walk-off grand slam in extra innings. Just an amazing, amazing story. You should check that out if you haven't read up on it yet. One funny thing that happened this week, NFL Twitter account was hacked and let everybody know that the untimely passing of Roger Goodell had taken place. That's funny to me. I know a lot of people were like, oh, that's uncalled for, blah, blah, blah. We're going to track him down and he deserves to be punished. Well, that's just a little funny. It's how the fans are feeling about the Commish right now. And that leads us into our next segment. Let's get real. All right, y'all, let's just get real about Roger Goodell for a minute, all right? This is a guy that when he came in, everybody had high hopes. He was following Paul Tagliabue. He had worked with Paul Tagliabue. Paul Tagliabue at the time was the best commissioner in all of professional sports. So we have high hopes that somebody that was from his tree, that learned underneath him, was just going to continue on and do all these great things. And to a certain point, Roger Goodell has. He's made the owners lots of money. He's helped expose that the NFL was hiding concussion research. He's let everybody know that he can mismanage $1 billion industry. Okay? He's gone out and he's lost the trust of all of the fans. He's lost the trust of the players. He has a bad working relationship with the players' union. And he's constantly involved in the press more than he should be for things that are dumb. Sure, he's expanding the game worldwide and increasing our international fan base. Whoop-de-doo. What about the fan base here? What about the teams here? What about the players here? You don't lie to your players. You don't mismanage suspensions and fines. You don't screw up the Ray Rice situation. You don't screw up the Greg Hardy situation. You don't go from a 2-game, 6-game to season-long suspension. You don't screw up with New England and Brady and this Deflategate thing so it lasts so long. You don't take judge, jury, and executioner because you're the commissioner. A smart man lets that pan out amongst a whole group of people. Taking away touchdown celebrations the way that he had. The substitute referees was his idea. He screwed up Bountygate and suspension with Sean Payton for a full season. He's inconsistent. He's not doing a good job anymore. He makes way too much money for it. And you know what? I don't know who can come in and take his place. I don't know what else he could have done. He came into a situation that was like following Elway or Montana. And you know what? I have to say, even though I'm saying he needs to go, he was still a better choice at the time than Condoleezza Rice would have been. Let's be real. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, everybody, be real.